the Houston Rockets, in my opinion, are going to be very, very good in the future, okay? And we already are kind of seeing improvement. As last year, the Houston Rockets managed to go from complete dog shit and only 22 wins to just average shit. And they made it to 41 wins, where they actually broke at a 500 record. They didn't have a losing record. They also didn't make the playoffs or have a winning record. But, hey, it's progress. Progress is progress, and it's really all you can ask for. And especially in the NBA. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse, okay? So the Houston Rockets, in my opinion, are on the right trajectory and have shown tons and tons of potential for this team to truly moon at the right time and really just have a breakout season going into next year and just overall have a very bright future as well going forward. And I have a few reasons why I think that, and overall why I'm so high on this team. And as a person who's not even from Houston, I am extremely high on the future of this team, and I am buying up as much stock as possible in this Houston Rockets future. So really my first and one of my biggest reasons to why I think this team's future is so unbelievably high is because the immense levels of young talent on this team, they are basically a fucking daycare, okay? Like, it is insane how much young youth high level talent this team has. And let's just start from the top. They have Jalen Green, who's currently probably, outside of Fred VanVleet, but out of their young guys, probably their most important guy to develop. So Jalen Green has been in the league for now 3 years, and last year, I would say, had some of the best stretches of his entire career, and is really living up to the hype that he had coming into the NBA draft, or his draft class. Like, when he was coming in, I was super high on Jalen Green. I thought he was going to be a stud. I still think he's going to be a stud, and I think he's definitely showing the potential. He just has to put it together consistently. Right now, he's just kind of like having little diarrhea spurts of very good play, but he can't get it solid and he can't be consistent. Like, he's right there. I feel like he's just still young. Like, he's still only, I think, 22 years old. So he still definitely has a pretty good length of a runway to really develop. But it's getting to the point to where, like, you really want to see him really start building this consistency. But even just last year, we saw a 36-game stretch where he averaged 23.2 points per game, 1.1 steals per game, 4.1 assists per game, and 5.8 rebounds per game on very solid efficiency, being 45% shooting from the field and 34% shooting from the three-point line. And in my opinion, that is by far the best lengthy game stretch of his career, and if he can just do that for, say, over an 82-game season, that would make this team so much better, because a consistently good Jalen Green would help their team tremendously on the offensive end. And now, if Jalen Green is their most important guy, I would say Jabari Smith Jr. is 100% their second most important guy on the roster, because Jabari Smith, as well, I think has star potential and was super hyped coming into his class. Now, Jabari Smith, I'm really not too worried about. Like, I think he is going to get it done. Like, he's like almost a more mature version of what Jalen Green is. And although his efficiencies did go up, his points per game barely went up, and a few other things barely went up, but he did improve from year one 100%. And I think he is getting there, and he's on the right trajectory as well. Like, he just needs to keep on getting it and get a little bit more aggressive overall and really just assert himself in the offense of the team. But Jabari Smith, I think, at least I want to think, that he is going to be extremely solid going forward and probably going to be a 20-point per game scorer one day. He has the tools. He has athleticism. He really just has to put it all together. And I think if him and Jalen Green can become a dynamic duo, that would be huge. The problem is right now, one, they're both super young. Two, they're both pretty inconsistent. And when one of them's having a good game, the other one is not. They needed to get to where they both have good games all the time, and that would help this team tremendously. And I think offensively, they could be unreal, because Jalen Green, when he is on, is extremely unguardable. Like, he is a bucket when he is on, and same with Jabari Smith, because he is a 6'11" guy who can shoot the hell out of the ball. So it is a lot of potential with those two guys, but unfortunately, they just can't put it together consistently yet, and I think that is coming, and I am just very, very optimistic about that future, and I just think overall, they're going to be able to get it done. And then another guy who really isn't even like one of the main names on this team, in Tari Eason, I think is going to help this team tremendously next year. And the main reason I say this is because last year, unfortunately, my LSU boy could not play last year due to a lot of his injuries, but when he does play, he is an absolute dog, okay? Like, he plays extremely well. He's an amazing athlete, a very solid two-way level player, and is probably one of the best two-way players on anyone's bench in the entire NBA, and he is also extremely, extremely young, and I just think overall his play style style fits them perfectly. He's a great player, and he probably starts for a good amount of teams in the NBA if he is fully healthy. And I just think overall, Tari Eason, a fully healthy Tari Eason, will help this team tremendously coming off the bench on both sides of the ball, which this young team desperately needs. And then even some of their newer young guys like Amen Thompson, a guy they added last year in the draft, like the reason I have him on here is because, let's be honest, his jump shot cannot get any worse, okay? Like, don't get me wrong. He's not going to have a good jump shot next year, but it can't be worse. It's either going to stay the same or it's going to get slightly improved, okay? And if he can slightly improve the jump shot every year, maybe eventually he will have a solid jump shot. And if he can get a solid jump shot where you can't leave him wide booty butt naked open on the three-point line and you actually have to guard him, that will make his defense way more effective because at least he won't be a liability on offense. Now, I'm not saying he's completely awful on offense. No, he has great athleticism. He can finish pretty well. Unfortunately, that's where it ends on the offensive end for him as right now, but he's very young. He has tons of rooms of improvement, and if he can just improve that jump shot to where you can't leave him wide open and not give a damn about him and just double whoever else has the ball, that would not only make Jalen Green and Jabari Smith's life much easier, but it would just overall heavily increase the two-way potential of this team, because Amen Thompson is already an excellent defender. If he can just figure out that offensive side of the ball, they would now have two guys in Tari Eason and Amen Thompson who have great size, great athleticism, and are great on both sides of the ball. So if Amen Thompson can just figure that out, they could have an absolute problem with them two as a two-way duo going forward. And I know I'm starting to sound like a little bit of a broken record here, but Cam Whitmore is another young guy on this team that I'm just absurdly high on. Like, Cam Whitmore, in my opinion, has a chance to have maybe the best sophomore season out of anyone from his draft class. I loved Cam Whitmore coming in. I thought he was a top 10 player. He fell very far, all the way to the Houston Rockets. And I just think overall, Cam Whitmore very much deserved to get picked higher than he was. He was unbelievable in the G League last year. And then when he got a chance to play in the NBA, he was still extremely solid for a rookie. And if he would have played all year, I 100% think he would have made an all-rookie team. He's unbelievably good. He has so much two-way potential. His athleticism is absurd. He's a very solid shooter for his size. He's very strong on the defensive end. He can rebound the hell out of the ball. He can literally do everything you want him to do, and he is only going to be a second-year player. And with this being his second year, with him being more comfortable, with him probably going to have a much more consistent role on this team, I think Cam Whitmore is going to help this team tremendously, letting him play the entire time. And I would not be surprised one bit if he ends up starting for them towards the end of the year. That's how good I think Cam Whitmore's future is going to be. And I think the NBA is really going to get put on notice, because I think he is just an absolute stud muffin, okay? I think he's a beast. And then even Reed Sheppard this year, who's their rookie this year, he was one of my favorite players in the class. So the fact that they got him is extremely impressive. He's already one of the best shooters in this class, but in my opinion, he's much more than that. He can score at all three levels. He's an absolute dog. And I mean, let's be honest, if a guy named Reed Sheppard that looks like this made it this far and was a high lottery pick, there's a good chance he can overcome some adversity, okay, and some bias against him. Look at him. He's not exactly what you would expect to be NBA material here, okay? But in my opinion, he was one of the best players in this draft class, and I was much higher on this draft class than most people, so I don't even think it was that weak. And I think Reed Sheppard has a chance probably year one to be a great shooter and then develop into a very good point guard for them going forward, and is probably their long-term Fred VanVleet replacement. And I really don't think there would be that much of a drop-off in like 2 or 3 years, because that's how high I am on Reed Sheppard. I think he can reach that level and maybe even beyond that. So overall, I think the Houston Rockets have put together an unbelievably good team of a young core, and they all have such high potential, and they can all work so well together. All they have to do is put it together and develop in the long run, and I think this team could be so good. And the fact that they've already won 41 games, despite still being this raw in their development stage, I think is so good right now. Like right now, they're a rare steak. Like they're as rare as it gets. Then they're going to get to medium well, hopefully this year, maybe even make a playoff spot, play in game. And then they're going to get to be well done, and they could legitimately be a contender going into the future if they're able to add maybe one more star to this team. That's how good I think this young core is, and that's how underrated I think this Houston Rockets team is. And then one more little bitty point that I wanted to mention was that their chemistry should be much better than it was last year, because last year it was Ime Udoka's first time coaching the Houston Rockets, it was Fred VanVleet's first time, it was Dillon Brooks' first time with the team. They all had to build chemistry, learn how to play together, learn each other's games, learn a new system from their coach. coach. It really kind of is an overhaul of the team almost, or at least with additions and the head coach. And I just think overall, now with this being year 2, with them having a whole season, a whole off season to go, and they're going to have a whole training camp together and everything like that, they're going to be able to hit the ground running. They're going to know how each other like to play. And I just think overall, the chemistry of this team should be way, way higher. And if 2K, my career / my team / my GM has taught me anything, chemistry is a very important aspect. So it should help them a lot, okay? And I just think it's going to help that they hit the ground running. I think they're going to develop more than they are already developed. And I just think their future is insanely bright. I don't know if I said that enough times in this video, but that's basically everything I want to get over in this video. So I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you agree with me? Do you agree with me? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like any point, hit the like button, subscribe button, and the episode right to me. And I hope you have a blessed day, because I had a blessed day, so you need a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah, blah, blah.